everybody. Today Bible study will be from the book of Daniel, and we are going to do chapter 1 and chapter 2, and we start from the beginning and then we'll continue other time next chapters one by one. We try to dive in the book of Daniel. Is very important to know, and especially this time about some things are revealed by Daniel in this book. Okay. So first let's start in chapter 1, and it says Daniel training in Babylon. So what happened, how Daniel ended up in Babylon? It says, let's start from the beginning. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, that was in Jerusalem, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem and besieged it. So what it means besieged, when they surrender the country, the cities, and they were not allowed nobody to go in and out, with just say they need water supplies, anything, and they had to surrender because they couldn't leave. And verse 2, and the Lord delivered Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hands, along with some of the articles from the temple of God. It's very important to know that, so the king of Babylon took, let's say, some of the articles from the temple of God, which they were, when they do the Shabbat time, Feast of the Tabernacle, they celebrated Passover and all that. So they had special I would say silverware and cups and plates specific for those times, and drink wine and all that. There was like the celebration had to be specific celebration they had in the Jewish tradition, and they use those. And even like special cups they do by the priest, and then sacrifice and all that. So they were like in the articles from the temple of God, which were precious. They were gold, silver, and the king of Babylon took them out from the temple of God and carried and put it to the house of his God, which wasn't the real God. So that's very important, because later on we know what happened we're going to go back, and then we know what happened with those. So then the king ordered that they will bring into his service, like the Babylonian king, young boys that they were like royal family, that they're very smart, very intelligent boys. They bring those in Babylon with them, and there will be like no physical defect, handsome, showing attitude, every kind, and then they can learn anything very fast and very good. And so they bring them to the Babylon, and the king wants them to be fed from his table. So he's trying to teach them, as like, so the food what it was cooked from the king, for the king, to give it to these royal boys that came from Jerusalem, right? But Daniel was very smart. There was much problem. I'm not sure. I shouldn't say smarter than any others. He knew those the food, the meat, even the wine was sacrificed to his idols, and he requested that by the person was handling that found favor with him, that will not this is the court official, chief of his court official is what I call it at that time. That they will not have that meat, and it probably might be greasy, unhealthy, but then they know the meat was sacrificed to the idols and even the wine. So they instead they ask for vegetables, and it says, just let us try and see if 10 days. If we look better, good, then we continue with vegetables. If not, then we are going to eat the meat. And for their surprise, who was in charge of that, they look better, much better than the one eating from the table of the king of Babylon. Now they changed their name, so I want to point that here. Among those who were chosen were some from Judah: Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. The chief officer gave them new names. To Daniel, the name Belteshazzar, because he's in their culture, in their probably translation as well. Hananiah was Shadrach, to Mishael was Meshach, and to Azariah was Abednego. So I know the name. So, for example, Daniel in that culture, it was translated differently. So, and all the other names. So they received different names, or they completely changed their names as well. But as well, I think that was more like a translation. So we know about. So they were like after 10 days. Okay, so they didn't have to drink neither the wine, neither the food there. Now we are seeing chapter 1, and then I highlighted this. To these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and understanding of all kinds of literature and learning. And Daniel could understand vision and dreams of all kinds. So Daniel was on the top of the other ones, the other 3, because he could interpret the vision and dreams of all kinds. Okay. So they say there was for 3 years that they will study their language, culture, everything, make sure they pass, and after 3 years to be brought back to the palace for the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, to see them and test them, and then they put them in the service. So they all 4 enter in the, it says here, verse 19, the king talked with them, and he found none equal to Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah. So they entered the king's service. Okay. But the king had also their own from the Babylon, like magicians, the one they were reading in stars and all that, enchanters, which were like more like witchcraft and all that. But in every matter of wisdom and understanding about which the king questions them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians he had, the enchanters, and his whole kingdom. Okay, now we are in chapter 2. Nebuchadnezzar, he has a dream, and then he tells to his magicians and all what he had, the wise men in his kingdom, astrologers, sorcerers, wow, imagine, to tell about his dream. So says, okay, king, tell us about what you dream. It's like, I don't remember. It's like, it's impossible. It's like, there's not only the gods that, but they are not among the humans. Only they can tell you what you dream. If you tell us a dream, we can interpret the dream, but we cannot tell you what you dream. So we are back here, and it says that the king made the decree that all the magicians, astrologers, all the wise men to be killed, and because it says there's no, look at that, verse 12. This made that, it says like, no, we cannot do that. So this made the king so angry and furious that he ordered the execution of all the wise men of Babylon, which includes the 4 boys that they came. So the decree was issued, and then they came to pick them up. But Daniel spoke to the other 3. Daniel spoke to him. Well, okay. When Arioch, the commander of the king guard, has gone out to put the wise men of Babylon to death, Daniel spoke to him with wisdom and tact. So he knew how to speak in wisdom and tact. That will be, like, it always find favor, the way he spoke, the way he was dealing with the things around there, okay? And ask why is it so harsh? And it says like, and then went to ask for time. Daniel went to ask for time. And not just that, he went to return and then asked the other 3 with him to plead for mercy, because they involved them, they would be, killed, because they were like in that duty, like they were considered pretty much like with the wise men, okay, with men. So they went and prayed, and during the night, I highlighted that, the mystery was revealed to Daniel in a vision. Then Daniel praised the God of heaven. So he did, and it's a long prayer there. And now we are in verse 24 in chapter 2. Then Daniel interpret. Daniel, he saw in the vision exactly what the king, which is rare to know what somebody else was dreaming, right? But this is just by God's hands. It can be by the human. And so Daniel knows the dream, now goes to the king, and he tells exactly what he was dreaming. And when it says, take me to the king, I already know. And it says like, there's no wise man went, verse 27. Enchanter, magician, or diviner can explain to the king the mystery he has asked about. But there's a God in heaven who reveals mysteries. He has shown King Nebuchadnezzar what will happen in days to come. Your dream and the vision that passed through your mind as you were laying in bed are these. So it tells, it's about the dream. Your Majesty looked, and there the king of Babylon, he looked, and there stood a large statue, an enormous dazzling statue, awesome in appearance. The head of the statue was made of pure gold, its chest and arms of silver, its belly and things of bronze, its leg of iron, its feet partially of iron and partially of baked clay. While you were watching, a rock cut off. That's why I highlighted. This is very important. Verse 34. While you were watching, tells the king of the Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar, a rock was cut out, but not by human hands. It struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay and smashed them. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were all broken to pieces and became like chaff on the threshing floor in the summer. Like nothing, like more like powderish, or that in the summer, like the wind blows away. The wind, oh, exactly, look at that. The wind swept them away without leaving a trace. But the rock that struck the statue became a huge mountain and filled the whole earth. So this was the dream, and now he's going to interpret the dream. It says like the cut that was by the huge hand that says that was Jesus. It's what the scholars say. This was a dream, and then this is the interpretation. That Your Majesty, you are the King of Kings. Okay. It says that he is the statue. The God of heaven has given you dominion and power, might and glory. Your hands has blessed all my kinds of beasts and field and the birds. Has made you ruler over. You are the head of gold. So he is the top one. After you, another kingdom will arise, inferior to yours. Next, the third one, the bronze, and a ruler over the earth. Finally, there will be 4 kingdoms, strong or as iron, for iron breaks and smashes everything, and iron breaks things. They'll be crushed and break all the others. Just as you saw, the feet were like toes, partially bake clay and partial of iron. There will be a divided kingdom, and some of the strength of iron, and even you saw your iron mixed with clay, as it's just hard if you think about that, as the toes were partially iron, partially clay, and this king will be partially strong, partially brittle. Okay, and just as you saw the iron mixed with the baked clay, so the people will be mixture and will not remain united any more than iron mixes with clay. You can mix them together and remain together. That's for sure. So in the time of these, what is this? Okay. Of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed, nor will be left to another people. It will crush all those kingdoms and bring them to an end, but it will itself endures forever. Okay, this is that's why I highlighted. This is the meaning of the vision of the rock cut out of a mountain, but not by human hands. A rock that broke the iron, the bronze, and the clay, the silver, and the gold pieces. So, and so he ended up with that. But as says God of heaven revealed, it matters if we stay with God, because he reveals things that no people can on this earth reveal, like somebody else's dream. And interpretation, yes, probably you can get ahead with that, you should be okay, but to get somebody else's dream, he gets very, very well with interpreting the dreams. So Daniel had that ability. Now look what the impression did on King Nebuchadnezzar. Sometimes it's not, God doesn't give us all these attributes, all these gifts of interpretation of dreams, and give us the dream itself as well, because sometimes he is for advancement, for the king of Nebuchadnezzar, knowledge that there is a big God out there, a bigger God than his, is the God of heaven and earth. Look what he says in verse 47. The king said to Daniel, "Surely your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings and revealer of mysteries, for you were able to reveal this mystery." And so he acknowledged who God is, and that's very important. So with this, King Nebuchadnezzar, he made him ruler over the entire province of Babylon and placed him in charge of all its wise men. So when we see that he got not just that, moreover, Daniel requests the king appointed the other 3 administrators of the province of Babylon, while Daniel himself remained at the royal court. So he was advanced, and exactly what God wanted him to be. He wanted to be in the higher position. He wanted to be up there, because he had more work to do with King Nebuchadnezzar. He needed this was just the beginning, what is going to come more. And we are going to go to other classes like Bible study other time. And what I try to say that when God gives you special abilities or certain, gifts, they are for a reason. That means you need them for a certain time. And as says in the time like this, he needed them, and he uses all those gifts that God gave it to him to interpret, and also to change King Nebuchadnezzar's heart to know who God is, real God is, reveals for the future, things from for the future. And also Daniel was able to not just interpret, to kind of think what is going to be in the future and pray about it and find out and figure out what God, they give to unclean, I shouldn't say, an uncircumcised, unclean person, probably Jewish will say, give all this for the future, but also got Daniel to know what is going to be in the future as well, because he had to reveal the dream and then he had to interpret. So, and that's a plus. So I enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed as well. And as I said, this is just the beginning. We start with 2 chapters, then we'll go next time. We'll go the other, maybe another 2 chapters, and we'll keep going till we've complete the book of Daniel. All right. Till next time, I say goodbye. Goodbye now.